Call the meeting to order. The date of Wednesday, March 26th, 2025. Roll call members, please, Matt.
Donahue,
Here.
Connie. Here. Leaders.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Herder.
Here.
You all had a chance to read the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or make corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now I'll read our operating statement for the meeting tonight. The public hearing will be conducted pursuant to the board's rules of procedure as adopted May 26, 1988. We will first hear the report of the planning director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request, if not done so in written form prior to the hearing. Next, we will take the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I'll call upon members of the audience wishing to make a statement concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those who oppose it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, members of the board may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the board. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the request. After the public hearing has been closed, we will hear the recommendation, if any, of the planning director. And upon completion of all discussion, I'll entertain a motion for the members of the board regarding the disposition of the application. Each speaker addressing this board shall step forward to the podium, state their name and address before proceeding with their testimony or evidence. I would ask that you spell your last name. This board shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions relating to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by the majority of the board. The board may grant continuances in case for good cause shown to any interested party who has entered his appearance. The board may at any time request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for other such reasons the board may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state the specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official actions of this board will be made at public hearing by motion made, seconded, and employed of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amended hereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this board. Once this board has reached a decision on a case, that decision shall be final. Section 335.1 of the Iowa Code states, any person or persons, jointly or severally, aggravated by any decision of the Board of Adjustment under the provisions of Chapter 335, or any taxpayer or any officer, department, board, or bureau of the county, may present to the court of record a petition, duly verified, setting forth that such decision was illegal in whole or in part, specifying the ground of legality. Such petition shall be presented to the court within 30 days after the filing of the decision of the office of the board. Upon hearing that, I would ask for a motion to open the public hearing on case CU-2025-01.
On this case, I was just gonna say, since it was, we opened public hearing on it before, I believe all we have to note tonight is that this case has been withdrawn by the applicant.
Okay.
So no action is required by this board.
All right. In that case, we'll go to second case tonight, which is ZV-2025-02.
I'll make the motion to open public hearing for case number ZB 2025-2.
Second.
Been moved to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Public hearing is now open. Would whoever is going to speak for Crew Properties, please come up to the podium, state your last name and address.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Jason Craig, Craig. The property address is 17298 Lapworth Lane, Crescent, Iowa.
Is that your home address?
Nope, that's a business address. Home address is 225 Glen Ridge Circle in Council Bluffs. This is my wife, Brooke. Also Craig, Craig. Same address.
Thank you.
All right. The building at 17298 Lapworth Lane has had quite a history. It was erected in the 70s and has served many purposes over the years. Prior to our ownership, the property had become a construction, storage, and staging site. The building and all around it housed equipment, broken down trucks, concrete forms, septic systems, drainage pipes, culverts, manhole housings, etc. Here are some pictures to remind you of that time. You can each have one. They're different years, but they show the same.
Same, do we have one?
I have small ones. Look at hers. Yeah, they're the same thing, just smaller versions. Okay. In 2025, we cashed in our retirement on a dream of running a business and 25th, sorry, what did I say? Sorry. In hopes of running a business and purchase the old Lapworth Lane building. We closed the deal in 2016, and we worked hard to clean up the property and make it not so intrusive to our neighbors. Here is a current picture of what it looks like today in comparison to the pictures that you have now. We've taken pride and joy in working our business while raising our kids to know how to work hard and treat people right. Over the years, we've heard stories of the past about our building and property, and some of them are not so flattering. We have, however, felt welcomed by the community, and we've really appreciated the townspeople and other business owners and neighbors and friends that have noticed the changes that we've made, not only to the property, but in running the business that's there. We have tried to clean up the property. It takes time, but we've made good progress, as you can see. As you all know, and many of you experienced firsthand, tornadoes ravished our area last April. We were more fortunate than many of our neighbors that our building did take on some damage. We're here almost a year after that. We have been struggling to settle with our insurance. We've consulted with engineers, contractors, adjusters, and talked to neighbors, and we've come to a fork in the road, which is why we're here today. We have two choices. We can either repair the building or we can replace it. The building is old, but it is repairable. We have bids to do the work, and they are under the 60% fair market value of the building. And our understanding is that we could just go ahead and do that without any approvals from what a gentleman came out and told us for the damages that were done. However, at the end of the day, we would still be left with an ugly old building. And so this is the picture, another picture. I'm all about pictures. I need visual aids.
What it looks like now.
The other option is where you guys all come in. We're asking you to consider and approve our variance request to replace the building. The new building would make a huge difference in the look of the property and make it less industrial looking for our residential neighborhood. We would be able to store what's currently outside, inside, making it more visually appealing. We would take down the old rusted bridge crane that you can see in those pictures. That would come down, and there would be a green space there where there currently are burial boxes stored. The new structure would blend in with the beautiful bluffs and the homes around us instead of the old ugly green or gold Thor thumb that is currently there. And so these are just renderings, current and then what's proposed.
So I just put together these renderings of current. This would be.
And I think you all received a site plan in the packet, and we brought copies of that. Do you have it in your packets? Okay, so we do have that with us as well if you need a copy. We thank you for all you do for our community, and we ask that you allow us the opportunity to do a small part in making our piece of the community better. Thank you.
I have a question. So what size of building would the new one be then? Is that?
So the new building would be, it would be 100 by 200. So it would be
100-foot wide or?
100 foot wide, 200 foot long.
Okay.
And right now, kind of the combination of buildings that are there, we're about 89 by 160 is the longest.
Is this the one that they have?
No,
Okay, so we do have this too that shows um, the current outline of the shop. You can see the three buildings that kind of stair step, and then the darker line is the proposed. So you can see it's within the footprint of the structures that are there. So you can see the stair step buildings, the three, and then this building, the black is the proposed. You need a copy? So it would be within generally the structure that's structure like.
What type of business is it that you run out here?
it's a burial vault business precast.
Okay.
So I guess the reason you're here today, because if you were to make it, take down the old buildings and to make it fit with it, like those setbacks that are allowed now, you'd be quite a bit skinnier on your buildings.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to put back a building that we could operate the same amount of.
Okay.
Yeah, I think on that sheet there, that dashed line within, yeah, this dashed line here is a 50-foot
On each side.
offset. So it would pretty much really diminish what we have to work with.
There's a deck on the back of this building, but nobody lives there.
We do have people living there.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you. Anybody who'd like to speak in favor? The, anybody like to speak opposed? No other questions? I guess I'd ask for to close public hearing.
I would say in favor.
Thank you.
Thank
You can come to the podium if you'd like to speak.
I'm just,
All right,
I'll mind my own, but I'll move to close public hearing.
we have a second. We move in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Public hearing is not closed. As for a staff recommendation,
Well, for my recommendation, my recommendation is, I mean, I don't have any justification to say that it's okay to grant for variances on here. I mean, looking at it and, you know, what is solid kind of things that we have out there, yeah, but at the heart of it is just like, it's a really big building on a small lot. So unfortunately, I mean, Pam and I looked through the code, several different ways and times to try to figure out how we could say, you know, that, yeah, we would love to have this new building out there, just with that size and those setback variances. I don't have a way justifiably to tell the board that that I can recommend.
Have we
It's not
received
saying
any
that you guys,
community feedback on the letters that went out? Like the adjoining properties or anything?
no, we didn't receive any feedback from
One
anybody.
neighbor called, asked what they were proposing, because you know how it says 34-foot variance. It's confusing to some people. So
Always.
I think she felt it was going over the south property line, you know, and it's not going any closer. But anyway, I think her and her husband spoke to the applicants and didn't have any issues.
We even tried looking at it as just like even an economic development issue. To say, how can we make this work in there from my perspective to be able to give that okay? And that's not to say that board always does what I recommended in the past.
Is there any discussion with the board or is someone would like to make a motion on this? That'd be great.
What do you say, Lynn?
I like it. I mean, I'd love to see a new building out there. Driven by that for years and it's never looked very appealing, so I think it would be nice to have a new building there. And I think it would obviously be more, you know, the new buildings would be worth more, create more tax base. I don't know. I see it being a positive, and if none of the neighbors are complaining, it's pretty much the same footprint as what's there, basically. It's a little big, it's bigger,
It's huge.
it's huge, but I don't know.
This is right off the highway. Right when you,
You know, I mean,
in between.
remember when Lazy had it and buy that property many times. I think it would be an improvement. Person.
I tend to agree with you. Would be improved.
I don't really know how anybody could think it would not be an improvement. With that said, then I'll just make a motion to approve case number ZV 2025-02.
Second.
Second. Lead second, a roll call vote.
Herder,
Yes.
Leaders,
Yes.
General,
No.
Kai,
No.
Anderson,
Yes.
3-2. The, has been approved, majority of the board. So congratulations.
thank you.
Okay, next up, we'd have a, ask for a motion to, open the board meeting of CU-2025-02.
Oh, okay.
I'll move to open public hearing on CU 2025-02.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is now open. The applicant, please come forward. Albert Schultz.
Yes.
Spell your last name and address, please.
Sure, SCHULTZ 22326 Harbor Lane. It's a new address, so I had to make sure I had the right address.
Tell me a little bit about what you want to do.
Okay, so first of all, I lived on State Orchard with my business for roughly 7 or 8 years. We ran it out of there. Had the same equipment we do now, but I happened to move out to this address on Harbor Lane. What we do is typically have 2-3 skid loaders and maybe a mini excavator. We park out there and sometimes 2 to 3 trailers to haul them around. And I have 4 or 5 pickups we use for the daily operations and snow removal in the winter. So, I mean, we pour concrete is what we do. We don't do anything on the site except maybe a little bit of maintenance and store our equipment and pick it up. Some, not every day, but it just depends what we're doing for the week. So, I mean, we have, sometimes on rain days, I'll bring my guys in to do a little bit of cleanup or maintenance on all of our stuff. But we don't produce anything in there. We don't sell anything out of there. But just trying to give a service to the county or community to pour some concrete and support our family.
So how long have you been at this address?
Oh, probably 6 months.
November.
And so your request is
Just to have my business there.
allow your business
Rural enterprise.
Rural.
Yeah, I'm sorry, contractor storage yard.
Because we have probably 4 vehicles just for the family, let alone anything to do with the business. So our, whoops, sorry,
How many vehicles are out?
what's that?
How many are in buildings or how many are outside the building?
Typically at night, we put the 2 in the garage at the house. It just varies on what so I try to have my guys take the vehicles home so they don't have to come there. But there's times like if we forget rebar or forms or tampers or something we need to pour concrete, then of course we have to go out there. But we don't, it's just like a meeting place to grab our stuff and then go work for the day. Sometimes during the day, we have to run back because we forgot something or something broke and stuff like that.
How many vehicles?
Oh, I'm sorry. There could be possibly 7 vehicles parked there. And typically we put maybe 1 or 2 inside. So at night, it just varies. I can't give you a definite answer.
So can you delineate that between your personal and your business? So you
Yes.
said you have 4 vehicles for your family. That's
Yes, but
personal.
one of them is technically my company vehicle, which I use for the family. Of course, it's in the business name. But over on that side, at night, there's 1 dump truck, 2 trailers, and one of the personal vehicles are over there because we're just teaching my stepson how to drive. He goes to Underwood. He's 14, so that's parked there. And typically 3 pickups is what's out there. And then if guys do come and have to drive a pickup, we have a spot where we put 2 personal vehicles for the 2 employees that do come there.
Anybody, are on any of these vehicles visible to neighbors?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it goes right the
So
road.
have you had any complaints about that?
Yes. Quite often. We even have the gentleman that likes to complain, stop and take videos and pictures and we have young kids there. I mean, it kind of freaks them out a little bit. I understand if he wants to complain to you guys or anybody, but to bring,
We'll just say that there's a bit of a neighbor feud going on.
and I mean, I guess I don't know. We come in, drive in the lane, do what we gotta do and then leave. To me, it's no different than farmers on the road that have 2 or 3 18-wheelers speeding down the road, but I don't complain. Fuel trucks, manure trucks, combines, all that stuff going outside the road in our yard, like the grass on top, but I just accept it.
Harbor Lane is what composition?
It's gravel.
I think we have 2, what's that?
I don't know where this picture came from.
Oh, I can tell you where it comes from.
It's, okay. There's no gravel there.
Well,
That's
there's
why I
gravel,
asked.
so let me rephrase. Can I come up there? So we just recently, and there is gravel here, it's just the entry, the approach to the road, it was just muddy. But anyway, we kind of come out probably 32 feet all the way across, drug the dirt back, put mats down, rolled it, and then we put gravel on top of it. And that's from when we had like 4 or 5 inches of rain.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a little bit of a mess,
Yeah.
but it's not like that every day. It's just when, and now we have the proper drainage to come off and then go to the left to the ditch. But once again, it's no different than farmers all through the community that try to farm when it's a little wet and drag mud out on the highway 191 or gravel roads. And once we do see that mess, I grade it right away with my skid loader, try to put some rock down.
You said it on you have 7 employees in, is that
I do have 7, but there's typically only 2 there. unless you count me. And they're not there during the day. I want to rephrase that. It is just to start in the morning, to maybe get a company truck, get the stuff and leave.
How many trucks you say sit in front of your business like during the day?
During the day?
Yeah.
Two personal ones, and then, like this morning, there was my truck. One other truck was there. And the dump truck was there. So they're usually dispersed during the day.
They all face right toward the road. Between
I
the
tried
and
to,
the road.
well, yeah, we poured a pad out front. The first thing we did when we moved in, I tried to put them right up there, try to make them organized. But the two usually park right by the road, and I've been in contact with, Alex about putting a retaining wall in the ditch line so we can kind of lower it, so we can kind of tuck those vehicles so you don't see them as much.
Did you say how far away the neighbors are?
There's one that lives right across the street from me. I think his name is Luke. We seem to get along.
Oh.
And the other one is probably roughly quarter mile down the road to the dead end on Harbor Lane. Fisher.
Sure. Andy.
He's even had confrontations with my employees. I mean, he threatened my guy, blocked him off the road, and they were gonna have issues, and Andy was mad at me because he cut him off and they were having words. And I'm like, I can't control a grown man on how you guys do out there in the public.
Anticipate getting any more vehicles?
No. I actually sold the dump truck, so I'm down to one.
Special business, and they have a tendency to buy lots of vehicles that are somewhat still operable,
Right.
and they could mount up.
So my plan is I have property on 192nd, which we switched it from agricultural to industrial a couple years ago. My plan is to get it all there in, I don't know, 5 to 6 years, but it just takes time to get shop build out there and move everything out there. It's kind of out on the outskirts right now and not much supervision or security during the day. But we do try to keep it clean, put the stuff away, organize the attachments I have for our skid loaders and stuff like that. And we do have some safety cones behind the building that we try to tuck away so it's not just out in the open.
You else have any questions? Seems like they're, for the rural enterprise business, that your contractors, equipment storage, there's some things, I guess, like that, for the number of acres you have to the employee parking or patron parking. That kind of raises some issues, I think, with the, it says 2 employees and there's 7 employees. So you have somewhere in between, there's, going to be, there's at least 2, if not more employees there, it seems like. And then, part of the item is, items shall be enclosed site of obscuring fence should not be visible from the adjoining parcel or from the public road. I guess that's probably, I think probably where most of the issues lie. I think where, stuff you can see from the road.
Right.
Like old construction materials or, attachments or stuff like that. This seems like maybe, I don't know if you need to more area to put stuff inside. I don't know, we solve the issues. I don't know, but it's, if you're working on a different place, that probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but like some of those things that are in here that you weren't aware of that. I guess that's maybe what the issues are.
Right, I mean, I assumed it was the same zoning that I had on State Orchard, so that's why I didn't even worry about it. That's why I bought that property, try to stay away from the city. So I could kind of tuck my stuff away.
Do you have a fence in front of it?
I'm sorry,
Do you have a fence in front of the vehicle?
there is no fence.
That might be something. Visually make it not so bad.
I would have to probably put like a 10-foot fence though, not to be funny, but because how high the road is with the ditch line. So if I did put a fence up, it'd probably have
Not
to
doing
be,
good until you put it that high.
well, yeah, it'd probably have to be 9-10 foot fence to block the view when people are going by. Because my yard is probably 3 foot down from the county road. So if we put that up, we'd have to hire for the fence.
Is there a, yes. There's a drop.
Yeah, so the road is here and then the ditch goes down like this. It's just a small ditch and then it's just up a little.
They can see over that.
Yeah, they sit on
See
the
'em.
low side of the road.
Huh?
They sit on the low side of the road. So the road's up quite a bit higher than what their property is.
Yeah, so if you put in a 6-foot fence, we drive on the road, you just look right over the top.
Right. It wouldn't do.
It wouldn't make
any
any difference.
I mean, I just feel the complaints come from one gentleman. Unless you get other complaints, but I've talked to my neighbor across the street and I said, is there any problems? And he's like, no, we're fine with what you're doing daily. And back to the 7 employees. Yes, I do have 7 employees, but very rarely are they all there. Like I said, if it rains, I just kind of bring them in to try to help them with give them a few hours for income. But I can just tell them they can't come and just keep it to 2.
Anybody else have any questions?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you. Anybody like to speak in favor? Anybody opposed? Nobody in favor or opposed, I would ask for motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Been moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried. Public hearing is not closed. Ask for the staff's recommendation.
When the staff report first came out, I didn't have enough information from Al to give the recommendation, but in between times of now, I did come up with enough information to be able to give a recommendation on this, and it would be to approve the application subject to the following conditions. Number 1 is that the area and the subject accessory structure dedicated to the rural enterprise business shall be limited to what is allowed by Pottawattamie County Code. That's 1,000 square feet. The outdoor storage area shall be limited to 1 acre minus the building site and shall be enclosed within a site obscuring fence and shall not be visible from the adjoining parcel or from the public or from the private or public road. The employees are limited to 2. Any signages shall be limited to section 8.090.030.06 of the Pottawattamie County Code and installed after the building permit would be issued. No on-street loading or unloading of materials and equipment. And that's based on the following findings of fact. Number 1, the rural enterprise business is a listed conditional use in the A4 district, which conforms to the land use policy plan. The subject property located in an area that's primarily utilized for agricultural. This rural enterprise business is not foreseen to have any negative impact on the area properties. The existing road system is adequate to accommodate the rural enterprise business. The aforementioned conditions are meant to minimize any adverse impact on the adjoining properties by limiting the size of the rural enterprise business. And the rural enterprise business complies with the conditions imposed for such a land use. So the rural enterprise business is located on the same property where business owner's residence is located. The rural enterprise business is for a contractor storage yard. There is evidence that the rural enterprise business will create excessive noise, odors, electrical disturbances. The total area devoted to the rural enterprise business is less than 1 acre. No on-street parking would be permitted with this rural enterprise business. I should just make note too, really quick, we should make, that the Fishers did provide the photographs that you all had in your packets, and then a written statement to go along with that portion, with their objection to the rural enterprise. Or, I think they're, and I've talked to them a couple of different times, that I think they believe that this is a rezoning of the property. It's not a rezoning of the property. It's conditional use permit being issued for the property. I don't foresee the issuance of the conditional use permit necessarily slowing down the complaints that we get, coming back on this. And, I've worked with Mr. Schultz before. I think he understands that, as the complaints come in, we have to inspect. We'll make contact with them. We'll let them know what complaint it is. We'll go out by, we'll view the property, make sure that, we're in compliance with what the conditions of the conditional use permit are. Not, it's a new situation to them. That's to be in, where you have this going on. It's not new to us as far as having to deal with the kind of back and forth that we see happen between property owners. So just, we make contact every time and we follow up, and sometimes when there's change in a neighborhood, it is hard to accept or hard to see. You might have had an older retired couple who lived in a home before and just didn't do much. And then you have a younger couple that move in, that have kids and cars and different things going on.
Natural turnover.
It happens.
I only ask about zoning. It says on but on his application, it says residential.
What's your question?
I'd ask him about zoning.
Is it a box they checked?
It's written in.
Yeah.
But
It's A4 less.
I saw, yeah.
Yeah. Even though it's kind of down there on the creek bottom area, I mean, it's still a big A4, less hills. So.
I guess my only question really would be about you see this picture and there's lots of mud, and I realize that's after a storm, but I mean, is there anything?
He was explaining that, what he
Yeah,
did about some of that.
That photo, when I guess, I mean, really looking at a driveway, and on that day, my driveway probably looked the same. I mean.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean, this is spring and
Yeah.
rain and snow and everything, but I guess I just wondered if, I mean, it doesn't look like he's got much gravel there. I would look at putting gravel in there if I was going in and out every day, and maybe there is, maybe it just doesn't look that way.
Should I come back up here?
No, the public hearing's closed.
So what it is.
During his portion, when he was up here talking, he did address and say that they had scraped that back, laid down fabric and put in new gravel. So I mean, it could be that we just.
So it's
A little way.
So this picture was taken before that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The geomat and the gravel should help.
Yeah.
Closer to the building, not the driveway area. But
I mean, that'd just be my main concern if I was a neighbor is, I don't want to drive my car through mud that's getting tracked out onto the.
But it's gravel road.
And
It is a gravel road, but it shouldn't be mud. But
No,
I mean, it's no different than farmers. I mean, I live out in the country. I mean, I live on the paved road and the farmers track mud every day from doing their cattle. And
off of their farm.
I mean, off of their farm.
Yes.
I mean,
It's not-
so I get it, but
How many
that might be
houses are
one
on
thing
our
that would help, and I know you've worked on that, so that'd be,
And that is mostly when we were getting our trucks ready, snow, do salt. So I mean, we had a lot of activity, but we have rock all the way to the building now.
okay.
So it has been addressed, and once I put this wall in, we're gonna lower that, scrape that back and do the exact same thing. So that whole front will have rock and, matting underneath it.
I think the biggest hurdle that I see is that, conditional use says that we could grant that based on, what Matt laid out, following those guidelines, but
following those guidelines with this property is gonna be very difficult to be able to get that, the attachments and trailers and skid loader and all that stuff so that it's hidden from view from the roadway and from neighbors' properties. With the way that this property lays downhill and then also not having much of a backyard where you can kind of stash that equipment technically out of view. I think it's going to be a constant, call for our departments with people being able to see something and then you gotta go look at it, check on it, which is, I'm sure not out of the ordinary for you guys. But
I'll make a motion to approve based on Matt's recommendation, case number CU 2025-02.
Second it.
A motion and a second, roll call vote.
General,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes,
Kai,
yes,
Leaders,
Yes.
Herder.
Yes.
The application has been approved. Congratulations. Is there any other news or business for tonight, Matt?
I don't think we have any cases filed yet. We have a case filed, 2 cases for next
And
month.
maybe 3
For next
pay
month.
exempt. We have a conditional use for, an ADU, size
Yep.
wise. Conditional use for, no, a commercial business for the, bait shop
Oh,
by
yeah.
Neola,
Yep.
and then maybe an appeal.
Maybe.
All right.
That's the
right.
23rd, 23rd. What's the 5th?
Yeah,
That's
23rd.
Not on a holiday, is it?
I don't know, is the
It has
23rd
something on the
holiday?
calendar
don't
over there, but I don't know. Stuff, it's a different color. Things written at,
motion to adjourn.
Yes, is there a
Second.
second? Moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned.